Hello everybody and welcome to Bush Talks. Today in this video we will be talking about the dark truth of the Apple company. In 2022 we all know who Apple is and their famous iPhones. The company is so big that only in the year 2022 it made a gross profit of $170.78 billion to be approx, which is 11.74% more than in the year 2021. But we are not here to talk about how much the company makes or how successful it is. All we're going to talk about is the dark tricks used by Apple and are still in use in order to grow and create its monopoly. 3rd April of 2010, the first iPad was released. Now, it may not sound like a big deal, but it is. So have you realized whenever you go to any store to buy a smartphone, the salesman continuously tries to show you other products with offers and bundles and tries to convince you to buy them. For example, you went to buy a smartphone that costs around $200 and then the salesman says, "Sir, since you have bought the smartphone, may I show you a smartwatch from the same company which will work perfectly with your smartphone which originally costs $100, but we are providing it only for $50." And you actually get into a second thought of taking it. Doesn't matter if you buy the smartwatch or not, but what matters is that you actually had a second thought about purchasing the smartwatch even if you were there just to buy a smartphone. Well, that's what is anchoring effect. So how did Apple use it? Well, we all know that Steve Jobs was a marketing genius. And when Steve Jobs announced the first iPad, he showcased it like it is some form of a revolutionary device, and he clearly stated that it is going to be priced at $999. But then later he changed it to $499 only, and that created the anchoring effect in people's mind. Even the people who were not planning to purchase it because it's out of their budget, which is $999, and when Steve Jobs changed it to $499, people actually started to consider it, and many of them even made up their minds to purchase it. This is one of the biggest tricks used by Apple that I'm trying to tell now. First, let's talk about the messaging app. It feels discriminated how Apple shows Android users messages in a different color bubble, which is green. This actually makes the Android user feel inferior to the one using the Apple product, when they should not, but it affects the mindset of an Android user in such a way that the Android user actually feels inferior. And Apple also does not use RCS, which stands for Rich Communication Service, which makes it harder for Apple and Android users to communicate with each other. What I just said is a small part, but the big issue is there are a lot of iOS features that can only be used between Apple products, thus making people buy more of the Apple products and getting them into the ecosystem. For example, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you want to share files from your Apple device to any other non-Apple device, first you have to upload that into AirDrop or any cloud services and download it on other device. That needs an active internet connection. For people like me who does not have like unlimited internet every time, we cannot afford to do that. For example, let's take countries of Africa and very underdeveloped Asian countries, right? Internet is very expensive over there, and it's metered connection and not unmetered connection. By unmetered and metered, I mean limited and unlimited. Whereas in Android, you can just use a cable to do it. It can be a micro USB or a C-type cable. So my point here is that if you want to enjoy all the features and use them easily, then you will need another Apple device. Privacy is a myth. Yes, you heard it right. Privacy is a myth. I'm a tech guy and into this development field, which makes me a worthy person to talk about this. Privacy does not exist. Why would you buy any smart device? It's not only for normal phone calls. Well, maybe some people buy it only for that, but 99% of us use the internet on the device we buy. Once you enter the world of internet, you do not have any privacy, whether you use Android or Apple or Windows. Most Apple users will only choose Apple products thinking they are private, and Apple also highlights privacy. But no, you're not. Yeah, Apple does provide better security in terms of other operating system, but it does not make you less vulnerable to data breaches or malware. For some of you who do not know, let me tell you that iOS can also be infected by malware and other malicious software. For example, a virus named WireLurker, which possesses the power to steal your personal information and install malicious software on your device. Even on other devices like Android or Windows, you do not get any malware or viruses until you click any malicious links or install infected software, which is same in case of Apple as well. My main point here is though Apple gives you a toggle to turn off data collection for third-party apps, it does not give you a toggle to turn off data collection from the Apple company itself. Apple is indeed secure, but if big intelligence like the FBI or big companies like Nvidia and Rockstar can get hacked, then why can't Apple be hacked? Technology runs on a piece of code where one or another the loopholes can be discovered. You may have heard of multiple news of bug bounty hunters informing the loopholes in the devices to Apple that could get data to be breached. Now just imagine what if the bounty hunter was a hacker with malicious intent. Well, now let's explain this in detail. All Apple wants to do right now is to create a monopoly in the market with its product. Well, in this capitalist world, monopoly is the most important way of survival. But Apple takes it too far. Apple gives users to turn off data collection from third-party apps, which affects their business model. For example, let's talk about the recent incident on Facebook. Since now Apple has this data collection option, Facebook and various other services like Google cannot show targeted ads to the users, which affects their income and their business. Apple openly promotes it, stating that they have unlocked a higher step towards privacy. But what Apple does not tell you is that they themselves are collecting the user's data so they can show you targeted ads from their upcoming service called Apple Ads. Yep, again, you heard it right. Apple is creating Apple Ads, their own advertising service where they can show targeted ads to users and you don't even have the option to turn off your data collection from Apple. Just imagine the company sells you a smartphone for $1,000 and shows you the ad to create more profit. What is more ridiculous than that? Well, Apple has played too many dirty tricks, but we cannot just blame them only, since many other companies also have a dark history, which if you want a video on, tell me in the comments, I will make it. But despite that, we also cannot just justify their actions. Thank you all for watching the video, and a like and subscribe will be delicious. Goodbye.